Hello, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, guys? Node Investor here. Gonna do a in-depth review of some of the majors, the top 7 cryptocurrencies: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, NEM, Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, and Dash. And if you guys want to stick around, I might cover a handful of others. We'll see how we do on time. 103, let's call it $104 billion market cap, guys. It's been a pretty good week. Things are moving up. Look at Bitcoin, 28.14, Ethereum, 281. It's almost the same price. You're right, like a 1/10 of the price. So if things continue, we'll see who gets to 3,000 or 300 first. A little bit of a race going on here. Quick, some housekeeping before we get started on here. I'm really excited. The cryptocurrency video course for 101 and for technical analysis is now fully released. I know several of you have already purchased those. I hope you're enjoying them. Take advantage of those. I cover a handful of charts, common patterns I look at, technical indicators, a lot of the same stuff I do in this course, obviously a lot more in depth. But if you're looking to get started, if this is what you're into, these are good courses for you. I think they're a lot of value, about 3.5 hours of video each one, and we go over a lot of different things. So let's take a look at the markets. So as we said, Bitcoin 2,800, Ethereum basically 280, Dash 145, Litecoin 29.64. I'm going to talk about Litecoin here. We're kind of getting close to a little juncture here on Litecoin. Monero strong at 56. Ripple sitting tight at 28 cents. Ethereum Classic has been sitting very tight. We're going to look at that chart. $17. Pivx $1.62. Zcash. I'm really liking Zcash here. Just moving up nice and steady. 277. Factom $30. NEM's not looking too good here, guys. I'll show you the chart. 21 cents. And Lumens just under 5 cents. So some news first. What's going on in the news? It hasn't really been too crazy of a week. It's been pretty calm. I mean, we made those new highs. I mean, that's pretty good news on Bitcoin, Ethereum making new highs. That's good news. Poloniex killed the troll box. So check this out. So you go to Poloniex exchange. There used to be this troll box here with all the chatter. It's gone. So I don't know what I'm going to do for entertainment now. I'm going to have to go find another source. But Trollbox is gone. I think that's a good thing. It's just a lot of noise and chatter. So that's it for news here. Let's see what else is going on. Let's look at the charts then. We'll start with Bitcoin. So let's go to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, if you guys remember, I mentioned this $2,300 area. I would say about a week ago, I said this was a critical area I needed to get above. It started to move above that, and once it did, it just was off to the races at that point. Nice little channel, and then it had the big pop, hit some a little bit of volatility here around the highs here, the all-time highs. But right now we're just kind of moving up steady. I mean, nothing bad to look at. There was this big volume selling here that tested the moving average, but just kind of moving along nicely. I really can't complain about Bitcoin. It's moving up. It's steady. I mean, if you look at the daily charts, obviously it's gone up very sharply, but looking at the log, it's just this nice steady trend. It was nice to see that after this big shakedown, we kind of just started moving up gradually. It wasn't this big V-shaped move. That's usually not good. This has been a nice, if you just look at the longer term, trend that it's building here, just looking good. So we'll see. Bitcoin's looking good all around. Nothing to complain about here on Bitcoin. See if we can break that $3,000 mark. That will make some headlines, I'm sure. Maybe bring some more people into the space. But for now, Bitcoin's looking good. Let's go to Ethereum. Ethereum really strong too. I mean, let's zoom out a little bit. And we've had just base after base. So the big base was down here in this $53 area. And if you've been holding Ethereum after that breakout, and I think that was one of the first videos I posted here was this breakout. And if you were holding it since then, and you got to be feeling pretty good. Ethereum's had a great couple of months, guys. I mean, just going from 53 to 280. We're on knocking on the door of 300. We had another little base here. Things were shaking out, but Ethereum was holding strong. That $95 zone was the other breakout I was talking about. We broke out. Then we had the panic down to 100, 115, and then it shot right back up. And then it put this nice little bull flag, this little pennant in. Just really gave you a little short break there, and then kind of just been edging out nice and steady since then. Not this crazy move up, just moving up steady, letting the moving averages keep up with it. So Ethereum looking really strong here, just moving up nicely, marching up. I'm not seeing anything negative. There's not really any big volume selling, so let's just keep an eye on it. If you're in it, keep going. I think you'll be fine. I mean, it's looking good. We'll see if it hits 300 here in the next week or so. It's definitely very close, barring any major selling in Bitcoin. I think Ethereum is moving up nicely. Nothing to complain about Ethereum. I'm not seeing any base or anything. So, if you don't have any Ethereum and you're looking to get in, certainly you can get in anytime it pulls back slowly like this, but there's not really a real base per se or any kind of buy signal. But if you're in it, you got to be feeling pretty good right here. Let's go to the next one. So Ripple. Ripple's been doing some interesting action here. Let's find Ripple. I'm going to find Ripple on the Poloniex USDT first, and then we'll compare it. So let me zoom out a little bit. So Ripple had the big pullback, right, from 43 cents all the way down, and it was building this downtrend. It tried to break a few times above it, just couldn't. The shorter term moving average was just grinding lower, staying below the longer term average here. It kept bouncing off of it, selling off. Then it put a pretty decent low here around the 19-cent area, let's call it, and tested that several times. A lot of volume came in, and then it just really popped. And once they popped it, it just went quick. It went from 20 to almost 30 cents in no time, basically a day or two. And since then, has just sat tight, just sitting really quiet here. Real interesting on the action here. I mean, the volume, it's not bad. I mean, there was a couple of big volume down days. It looked like it was going to break, but just not too bad, but not too good either. I mean, as long as it keeps sitting tight, that's okay. Remember, it did this kind of long, flat pattern way back here when it was building this base around 3 cents. I don't expect that to happen again, but who knows? I mean, maybe it could just sit tight around 30 cents for a while. You got to keep in mind, it's still digesting part of this move. I mean, it literally went from 3 cents to 43 cents in, what, a month or so? A couple of weeks tops. I mean, it was super fast, pulled back. So keep an eye on Ripple here. If you're not in it, I mean, this might be a good time to accumulate some Ripple here, but it's kind of in one of those next move wins scenarios, right? So if you see a sharp break to the downside, we might get another leg down. This downtrend may not be over. This was maybe a false breakout. At the very least, we'll test this support again at the 19-cent level. But if we get a big move to the upside, the area you're going to want to watch here is that 30-cent area. So let me kind of, this just general area here that it's been trying to get above. That's the area I'm watching. The most recent high was around 32 cents, but it just couldn't close above it for the day. It went up and then it just went right back down. So that's the key areas. So keep an eye on Ripple here. We want to see it move out here soon if it's going to continue higher. Otherwise, it might just flop and chop for a little bit. But I'm watching this one closely. I mean, the moving averages are catching up. Right now, it's looking good. It's not looking bad here, but you don't want to see a big break to the downside. You don't definitely want to see it break this 25, 26 cent area. If it does, we'll probably see another leg down on Ripple. Who's next on the list? NEM. Let's go to NEM. So NEM has not been looking good, to say the least. Let me show you what I'm looking at on NEM. Some plus, some minus here, but if we go back on the chart a little bit on NEM, had this huge volume breakout after the first breakout. So we had this big run up, then we put in this little bit of a base around here, and then you had this big volume breakout that just popped it up from basically 6,400 Satoshi all the way up to almost 14,000. But then it did this like little double top right here, then it had a little bit lower double top there. So you can see this formed a double top, right? It came down and then came straight back up and hit that same resistance there. And since then, it's just been marching down. Now, this is against the BTC. If you look at it on the dollar term, it's kind of been hanging around 25 cents down to about 19 cents and back up. So it's in that zone. It's not really sitting too bad on US dollar, but definitely underperforming Bitcoin and has just been doing this steady climb down. Here, we're at a little bit of a juncture with NEM. So here's the bearish story on NEM. This is forming a descending triangle wedge here. And so notice where NEM has found pretty decent support in recent past here. So here we found support. We had the big panic sell, but then it bounced right back up above support. Found support there, and here we are sitting right on the line. And so we're at a juncture here with NEM. NEM is going to have to break out here soon if it's going to continue higher. Otherwise, this is typically a bearish symbol when you have the double top and then you see this descending triangle. When it breaks this support zone, usually it breaks pretty fast and pretty sharp. If that happens, next area of support is going to be this old base right here, and that's going to take you down to right around 5,500 Satoshi or so. And so keep an eye on NEM. If you're holding NEM, you should probably be on alert here because it could dip down a little bit. If you're looking to buy NEM, a break above this is going to be a very good sign here. So if we can break above this little triangle we're forming, and it looks like it's going to happen here in the near term. If it's going to happen up or down, we'll know here in the next couple of days on NEM what it's going to do. So keep an eye on NEM. Who's next on the list here? Ethereum Classic. So Ethereum Classic, if you're not familiar with Ethereum versus Ethereum Classic, do some research on the DAO hack, the original DAO, DAO, Decentralized Autonomous Organization. And that was last summer. Ethereum was on a run, and then there was this, I guess you can call it a hack. It wasn't really a hack. It was just really some error in the code. Caused a lot of rift in the community, and ultimately Ethereum did a hard fork, meaning they changed the code base to reverse that hack. And there was a group that said no, because that's not the way it's supposed to be. That's the whole point of a DAO, is what the rules are written in the code. And so that spawned Ethereum Classic, which was the original code base, which included that DAO hack. And so since then, we've had Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, so kind of two camps now. Ethereum Classic has since been very underpriced versus Ethereum. When you can go back here, Ethereum Classic, $1.6 billion market cap, $17. Ethereum, $26 billion market cap, $280, right? So Ethereum Classic has stuck around though, and we had the pretty good run up here recently. It was like at $2 for a long time and then just shot up, and you can see that here in the base, and in the chart had a couple of big runs from 280, went all the way up to $7, $8, sat around for a little bit, and then had another big pop all the way up to $20, then pulling back sharply on that panic day all the way down to 8, and then straight back up. And since then, we've been building this real interesting, really tight base. And if you're a believer in Ethereum Classic and you think the gap is going to close a little bit, this is looking really good right now. So what I'm looking at is, look at the moving average just really keeping tight on there, and this little tight trend line, this really skinny ascending triangle wedge that's forming. The area to keep an eye on Ethereum Classic is right above this right here. So this is let's just say just under $18, so $17.80, $17.90, kind of that zone. If we can close above that for a day or more, you're going to probably see another move up on Ethereum. So the pressure is building here. It's kind of moving up on the bottom side. The top has been holding this resistance zone. So just like NEM, but to the opposite, we're going to know if Ethereum's going to want to move out here soon. Couple of things could happen. We could just, usually it happens before we hit the apex, right? So it could just bust out here soon. Or, not surprisingly enough, what you see a lot of times is this shakedown and then a move out, right? So everyone's watching this, everyone's keeping an eye on it, and then it could be a big scare to the downside, and then we're up to the races. That happens a lot, so keep an eye on it. Ethereum Classic, if you like it, I'd really be watching it right here. Watch this trend line. If it breaks to the bottom and just keeps going, probably not going to happen. So keep an eye on Ethereum Classic. LITECOIN. Let's look at LITECOIN. So LITECOIN, I got to say LITECOIN's chart hasn't really been looking too good. But, I mean, look at how messy it is. It's just, we had the big run up, had a nice move up, then it hit the SegWit day, peaked at 38-ish, $37, and then it just down and up, down and up, down and up. And if you've been holding it, I'm sure it's been tough to watch it go, all the way down to 20, and then all the way back up to 33, and then all the way back down to 19 or whatever on that panic day. And then since then, it's been climbing nice and steady. So looking at LITECOIN here, you're kind of putting in this little uptrend on the right side here, and that's looking pretty good. Now the volume patterns have been pretty decent on this, and so what I mean by that is every time they've sold it out, big volume has come in to support it. Then it's kind of moved up a little bit. Here we had a pretty good pop to the upside, pretty decent volume on that. Here we had, where was it here? Little sell down here. Big volume came in on that. So, it's just been interesting here. It looks like they're accumulating a little bit, but now we're at a juncture. If you zoom out a little bit, I mean, this is the 4-hour chart. It looks a little messy, but if you look at the daily, now it doesn't look so bad, right? So if you look at the daily chart, you're looking at almost this little bit of double bottom forming. And so you can see here, this here, up here, straight down up. And now we're kind of doing one of these here. And so a little bit of a double bottom, this longer term trend. I mean, the moving average here, this purple one, this longer term is finally just catching up to that big run up. And we undercut it briefly. We're back above it. The shorter term moving average has stayed above that longer term the whole time. And so all in all, that's actually very positive. So if we zoom in on the daily chart here, this is what I'm watching on LITECOIN. I'm keeping an eye on a couple of areas. Near term, if you can get above this $31 area, $31, it needs to get above that. $30 has just been this area of resistance. Then after that, the old closing highs. Now I know it went above that, but it never closed on a daily basis above 34. So if you can get above 34 on LITECOIN, that's a breakout. And if it closes above 34, we're going to start marching higher on LITECOIN. So keep an eye on LITECOIN here because it's forming an interesting pattern. I'm liking what I'm seeing on LITECOIN. And so I'm keeping a close eye on this. Again, the areas to look at, $30, $31-ish area, close above that. The next test will be 34, and then that's a pretty good breakout. On the downside, if this little trend that it's putting in doesn't want to hold, then we may see another leg down or some more of this sideways action that we've been looking at, this base building. But near term, I'm thinking we're going to see a move on LITECOIN one way or the other. So keep an eye on this, and near term I mean next couple of days to a week. So I'm not saying like today, okay? So just keep an eye on LITECOIN, but I'm liking what I'm seeing here. I like LITECOIN longer term anyway. I still think we're going to see the old highs, and that old high is right around $50, so keep an eye on it. Who's next on the list here? Dash. And that's number 7, guys. Dash, let's go look at Dash. I've seen a lot of interesting social media on Dash. They're doing this little buy Dash or help people set up your first Dash wallet, send a picture, you get some free Dash. So they're doing some promoting. I think that's pretty cool. Kind of get people involved in cryptocurrency and Dash. So here's the daily chart of Dash. So if you remember, we had the huge run up all the way to $100, and this ended back in March. And since then, we kind of formed this long base, actually formed a really nice cup and handle on the charts. Then we saw that cup and handle breakout, and the breakout was really this area right here. Had a nice breakout. Once it broke out, it went straight up to about $148, and then it got real volatile after that. So let's zoom in a little bit on this area. So after the breakout, we saw some sharp reversals, and granted, this was part of the panic day that we saw a couple weeks ago, and I mean, it went all the way down back to $72. And so I said, that's a failed breakout, not looking good. But then it bounced right back up. Okay, Dash is looking good again. Let's keep an eye on it. And so I've really been watching this closely. Now, if we zoom in on this 4-hour chart, take a look at this. I mean, so this is the panic down here on the right, on the left. And since then, just marching up nicely and some pretty decent accumulation here, some big volume bars. Then we had this really strange shakeout here not too long ago that was if you look at the charts, it was very brief. It was a blip. I mean, it was less than half an hour of just straight down and straight up. Massive volume here. So someone was buying some Dash right here at these lows, and they popped it right back up. They try to shake it down again here. And then there's this very interesting high volume bar with not a lot of movement on the price. So something's going on Dash here. It looks like it wants to bust out here pretty soon. I'm keeping an eye on Dash because this chart is setting up, and the area to look at is this 149, 150. Let's just call it the 150 area. And so if Dash can close above this 150, we're going to be at new highs on Dash. And so that'll be a nice another leg up. I mean, we had the old high around 110, 115. Quick run up over that, really shaking everybody out. But then now we're at this juncture again on Dash. I think we're going to see it move out here shortly. Keep an eye on the trends, though, and the moving averages. It's kind of wedging up as well, similar to some of the others. So just watching this. This is really narrow right here, so it's actually pretty good right there if you look at this little wedge. But it's got a little bit of a juncture here. So Dash maybe moving out, maybe breaking down again and shaking some more people out. So keep an eye on it. The area to watch again, $150 on Dash. All right, how are we doing on time? We're not too bad. We're about 20 some minutes in. Let's look at a few more here. So let's keep going down the list, see what catches my eye. Stratus, we got to talk Stratus. So Stratus, 861 pulling in. Stratus had the huge run up. You got to keep in mind, Stratus went up like 700% in like 2 weeks. So it's natural to watch it pull back in. I was looking at Stratus, saw a little bit of a breakout on the second base around $5, quickly went up to 11. Now it's just kind of pulling in. I thought the low was yesterday. It really looked like it was trying to bottom out. Let's go to Stratus on the BTC here. And it had this nice volume pop to the upside and then just failed. Didn't want to do anything. So if you look at Stratus on the BTC, I mean, the moving average was catching up. Everything was kind of coiling down. The volume patterns are looking good. It was declining on slower and slower volume. Then it had the big pop. I was thinking, okay, here we go. Maybe Stratus is done bottoming, and just not happening. So still on the downtrend, still consolidating further. Let's see how far it could go before it decides to bounce back up. So we look at Stratus. See. So here's what we need to look at on Stratus. So the first area I would be looking at as far as a potential support zone is this old little base cup we had here before it kept going higher. And so that's going to take you to about 28,000 Satoshi, let's call it. So around that area. That's not much further down. I know if you're holding Stratus, you're not wanting to see that. But at this point, it could happen, especially if you got to remember this is against Bitcoin. So price on Stratus could start sitting tight on the dollar. But if Bitcoin decides to break out above 3,000, this chart will show a little bit of a dip unless Stratus also starts going higher. So just keep that in mind. If we do, let's see here, what else could we do? Maybe a little fib retracement on this to see if if we did the whole chart, how far down would we go on the whole move up? So if we did this, we're saying first 50% is all the way down to about 27,000 Satoshi. Also, right now we're right at that 38.2%. So this is the first level retracement. Would be a good spot to bounce from, but if not, maybe this 27, 28. Look at this. The key level here, 61.8, is actually the old little consolidation back here. Could we see it go back down there again? We probably could, and that would actually be a nice double bottom, set up a new solid base on support there, and then head up. But we'll see. Stratus is just really strong here. Would be nice to just see it break this downtrend and continue higher here shortly. But that's what I'm looking at. So watch this downtrend that it's kind of putting in a little bit. It's not real clean, but it's kind of rolling down a little bit. But keep an eye on it. I thought we were going to break out again. I'm still watching it here. It had some pretty good support. We're getting close to this area, so watching Stratus. Probably nothing to do just yet. Monero has been really strong. Let's see Monero BTC. Let's look at Monero dollar first. So Monero was a little crazy during the whole consensus 2017 week. They had all this rumor, we're going to make this huge announcement. Announcement wasn't really that big. Crashed it a little bit. That was followed by the panic day. So it's just been really shaky, but bouncing back really strong here and right at the old highs now. So if you look at this, Monero's sitting right at the old highs, looking like it wants to start making all-time highs again. That's going to push you right at $56, $57. Try to get above it here earlier in the week, but just sitting real tight right now. Not sure what to do here. I mean, this is a little bit of a consolidation. If you like Monero, maybe you might want to make another leg up here and break out above these old highs. But it's looking pretty good. I mean, Monero's just been this steady climber. I mean, I think the first breakout I called was down here at 25 or so. But has been very volatile since. You can see we went straight up to 35 and then almost all the way back down to the breakout, then up to 50 and all the way back down, and just all over the place. Monero's been a tough one to hold, that's for sure. But keep an eye on it here. Looks like it may want to make a move up here soon. Couple more and we got to wrap this up. Waves, guys. I'm really liking Waves. Waves has just been acting really good the last couple weeks. I covered it a few weeks ago on a video. Go watch that if you haven't seen it. I covered Waves. I covered Ubic. What else did I cover? Stratus at the time. I covered Coin. So that was and Digibyte. So look at Digibyte. Digibyte's pulling back here. Let's look at that one. That's been getting a lot of attention lately. Digibyte. What are we looking at on Digibyte? So Digibyte. So check this out. So Digibyte had a nice cup and handle. I mean, classic, almost textbook, just beautiful. And it had a great breakout on that last week. And right after the breakout, I mean, this was a classic cup and handle breakout here, and you can see that it broke out here around 900 Satoshi. And following that breakout, we basically went all the way up to where are we? We had a almost 200% move on Digibytes before it pulled back pretty sharply. You know, high volume selling, some profit taking came in, but since then, this moving average is catching up a little bit. It looked like, so here was yesterday, right? I'm looking at Digibyte going, okay, the moving averages are catching up. Looks like it finally wants to break out. I'm keeping an eye on this near-term resistance here, and then I was watching this little trend forming. Everything was looking good. The moving averages were lining up. I was thinking, okay, maybe Digibyte's done pausing here and is ready to keep going up. The volume was nice. I mean, the volume patterns were declining as the price was declining, which is always what you want to see here. And so everything was looking good. It tried to pop a little bit yesterday, had the nice big volume pop, and then just reversed right back down. And now it's heading a little lower versus BTC. Not too bad on the price, sitting around 5 cents. But keep an eye on Digibytes. I mean, it looks like it's struggling to get over this little area right here, which is around oh, I don't know, what's that, 2250, 2260. So I'm not sure if it's going to just retrace this whole move. Not looking good right now. I mean, this little selling. So if you're watching Digibytes, I probably wouldn't be buying it here unless we see this little spike down reverse, and maybe that was just a little shakeout. I'll keep you guys posted if I see any more action on Digibytes. Siacoin is just looking good, continues to make highs. Issued the breakout on 1 cent on Siacoin. We're up about 80% higher than that now. That was only a week and a half ago, so Siacoin's moving nicely. I'm watching Lumens, but again, this is going to probably correlate a little bit with Ripple. Digibyte, 5 cents, not bad. Golem's been looking pretty good. I'm not going to cover Golem just yet. What else is on the list here that I'm watching? We're going deep down here now. We're 30s, 40s. It's probably it. Pivx, look at Pivx has just been all over the place. Ubic, I'm really liking Ubic. Very undervalued. $2.30. It's been moving up nicely. Keep an eye on Ubic, guys. The other one I'm looking at, I really like, is storage. If you like Siacoin, look into storage. It's a similar story. Real interesting. $67 million market cap. They just did an ICO. They raised some funds. The storage symbol will actually be changing here soon. Right now it's this storage coin X. Soon it's just going to be called storage. So that's going to do it for today, guys. That's going to be it for today, guys. I appreciate you hanging with me. I know this was a long video. I wanted to do a little more in-depth analysis on what I'm seeing, what's going on in the markets.